Hi, this is Dominic Sputo, the maker of CSvDatabase. Today I wanted to talk about CSvDatabase. So you can see here I'm using the class library CSvDatabase, and I have a little test project here, and it's just a console application. And what it's going to do here is create customer CSV file if it does not exist with the headers ID, first name, last name, middle name, and phone number. This will create the CSV file, which is the header. So you'll see a CSV file with just the headers with no actual data. If you want to not call this command to create the file, uh, if the file does exist, it will not create another duplicate. It won't override your old file. So this doesn't overwrite. It only creates a brand new file. Um, this actually inserts and creates the file. So if you run an insert statement, create the customer CSV file. This creates a CSV file if it does not exist, and then it also inserts the customer list. So this customer list, I'm creating 3 records here. I'm looping through 1, 2, and 3 times, and I'm adding to this customer list, and then I insert the customer list into the CSV file customer text. So if this file does not exist, it will create the CSV file customer text. It will create this. Okay, so next we have a customer class. So this is if you want to insert bulk, if you want to insert a whole customer list, you use the CSV bulk insert. And if you want to insert an individual customer record into this customer CSV file, you would create just a customer class, and then you would assign the values, and then you would insert that customer class right here. And this CSV is a CSV command insert. So if the CSV file does not exist, it will create it. It will create this file if it doesn't exist. You can truncate a CSV file using the CSV command truncate. This will delete or truncate, remove all the data from the CSV file. So all the data from the CSV file will be removed. The drop or delete, this will delete the CSV file from the hard drive. So this will physically remove the CSV file. This create customer CSV if it does not. This is another insert. Okay, so this is inserting using a string array. And so here's your values of this instead of using a class, you can use a string array. So here's a string array. It's got a GUID and a Dominic as the first name. So you'd have to assign the appropriate, these are positional too. So ID is this GUID, and first name is Dominic. So this Dominic here, that's first name. So they're in the same position. So this is position 0 on a 0-based index. And this is position 0, position 1, Dominic, position first name 1. So, and it will insert into this customer CSV file. Next we have a delete. If you want to delete using where first name equals Peter, Joey, and Ralph. If you want to delete using first name and your CSV file, the header's first name and the values Peter, Joe, or Ralph. You can also just have just Peter if you want it in here. But you can assign as many, as a string array, you can assign as many names as you want, many first names as you want to search for to delete. So this is a delete. And it deletes from the customer CSV file using the header first name where value equals Peter, Joey, or Ralph. Okay, moving on to the update. You can use the same thing as before as your delete. First name update, you're going to do an update where first name equals Dominic, Joey, or Ralph. So that's a string array. So Dominic, Joey, or Ralph. So you would normally you would have a text box here. Your text box value could be, and then your the field of the text box could be first name. So this is your header. So where your header equals Dominic, Joey, or Ralph. So first name update where Dominic, Joey, or Ralph equals value. Here's your values. This is the values that you're going to update it to. You're going to update it to Dominic, Sputo, middle name, and phone number. You can see here, this is where it's identifying what each of these values are. This is where it identifies. These are your headers. So this is positional too. So this is a string array. So you would need to know your first name header, your last name header, your middle name header, and phone number header. So that's 0, 1, 2, and 3 zero-based index on a string array. And that would be the same. These are the values. So this is identifying that this is first name. This is identifying that this is last name. This is identifying that this is middle name. And this is identifying that this is phone number. And it's going to update on the customer CSV file. It's using this customer CSV file as an update. So finally, we have a data table. This data table is using the customer class to get the value types. So each column has a type, a data type. It's going to use this customer class to identify the type, the data type. So it's going to create this data table with columns that have the data type of this customer class where they match. So customer CSV file is using the customer CSV file as the data source. This one's going to use instead of putting in your data types, the data type is going to be type string. So you're going to create a data table of all the customer CSV data. Same with this one right here. This is all your customer CSV data. And this is all your customer CSV data with data types of string. The column data types are all string. So this is just saying I just want all my data, and the columns of that data table are all string data type. We got here this is a list. This is if you want to get a list. This is you bind this to data source objects in ASP.NET Web Forms. You would use this instead of the repeater to bind the data sources. So this is what I would use if you're binding to a data source like a data grid or a repeater object. Use this code here. So this is going to get the records of the customer data. This is the customer class right here is being passed in to use as a reference of how to create this list of this customer list here. So this is a repeater. So if you wanted to loop through the data, this is actually the fastest way to access the data right now. This repeater data, or this data reader, the data reader is actually the fastest. And you can also use condition statements. So the first name in Dominic, Peter. You could also do Joey, and you could continue on and on and on. So this is going to look for anything with first name with the value of Dominic, Peter, or Joey. Okay, it's going to look for all of these, and then you're going to get data in that data reader that reflects any of these that are in this list right here. So any one of these names will show up in the result. Okay, you could also just have Dominic in there, in Dominic, but this is where you would do first name equals Dominic. That's a little bit better. Do first name equals Dominic, and you can get all your data. You don't have to close this data reader, by the way. It closes itself, so you don't have to worry about not closing it. It does close itself, but you can manually hit the close on it. Um, so this is gonna have all the records with the first name Dominic in here. And if you want to get all the data from the data reader, you just do that. You just put in the CSV file name, and you're gonna get all your data out. And that's it. That's all the different ways of, you got your inserts, you got your updates, you got your customer list. You would bind this to like a drop down list. You can bind this to a repeater. You can bind this to a data grid. Same thing with this data table. You can bind this to a repeater, a data grid. You got your updates, you got your deletes, you got your inserts. You can drop CSV files, you can truncate them, you can insert one at a time, and you can insert a bulk of records. So, and you can create the CSV file with just the header. So this is everything you would need to program an application. This is CSV database. So like and subscribe and donate. Have a wonderful day.